Let's go ahead and start factoring this expression by grouping. So for grouping, you're actually using the method of GCF to group them. So first, I'm going to group these two and pull out their GCF, which is the greatest common factor. So from both of these, I see that x squared is the greatest common factor. So we pull it out, and then we rewrite the inside as x plus 4, because when you redistribute, you get back x cubed plus 4x squared. Now, from the last two, since we're grouping these two, we also pull out their GCF, and they seem to share nothing because x and 4, no common factors. So we just pull out a positive 1. That's what we indicate as no common factor. And we just put parentheses around x plus 4. And now you see that here, these two, they happen to be a common factor of what we pulled out. So we pull that out. So you have x plus 4 being pulled out as a GCF of these two terms. And now we're left with x squared plus 1. So that's where I'm going to write in parentheses, x squared plus 1. And now you try to see if you can factor this again. We know there's no way to factor sum of two perfect squares. So this is not factorable further. Therefore, we conclude that this is our factor form for that given expression. Here we have another example. Let's factor by grouping since we have 4 terms. So we're going to group the first two as it is given and group the last two. From the first two, we pull out their GCF. In terms of numbers, we have 9 in common, and we have x in common. We pull out the lowest power, that is 2. And now we factor the inside. So 9x squared times what will give us 18x cubed. That would be 2x. And plus 9x squared times what will give us 9x squared. Well, we know that's just 1. Always check your answer by redistributing, and you get what was given to you initially. And now, from the last two, we can pull out, again, there's nothing in common, 2x and 1. So I'm just going to pull out a 1. Then we rewrite with parentheses 2x plus 1. And you see how these two match again. So we're going to pull those out. That's 2x plus 1. And we're left with 9x squared plus 1. So we're going to put those in parentheses. 9x squared plus 1. And you check again if you can factor any of these again. It looks like, again, we cannot factor it further. So these are the factors for this given expression. Here's another example, but we don't have 4 terms. It's a trinomial, 3 terms. But we are going to end up using the factor by grouping method. So let me show you how you would start factoring first. First thing you want to do, you want to multiply this coefficient with this constant. So we call this the AC method, which I have done in a separate video. Feel free to watch it if you don't know what an AC method is. So this is in the form of the quadratic ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is your A, this is your C, and of course this is your B. So the AC method, you're going to do A times C, you get a number. So in this case, that's 2 times negative 7. That's negative 14. And then your B term, which is negative 5. So you try to rewrite this number right here with 2 numbers. When you multiply them, you get negative 14. But when you add them, you get this number right here, negative 5. So let's split up and find all the product factors of 14 first. So I know 1 times 14, that's 14. And then 2 times 7. 3 doesn't go into 14. I think that's pretty much it. Now, one of these numbers have to be negative because when you multiply them, you want to get negative 14. And also together, when you add them up, you should get this B term. So I see that the factor that will work for us would be this one, but we need a negative sign. So I'm going to go ahead and put a negative sign with this one, 7, because negative 7 plus 2 will give me negative 5. That's the B term. So let's check. So now once you selected your factors, this is what you're going to do. You rewrite this term. Sorry, you keep these 2 terms. You just rewrite them and you split the middle term with negative 7x and 2x. So here's how you're going to do this. So rewrite 2x squared and negative 7x, the quadratic term and the constant term. And then you split this up with these guys that we just found. So I'm going to put as positive 2x and negative 7x because their sum is negative 5x. And that's what we want. So we didn't really change the expression, rather we just rewrite them. And now for terms, we factor by grouping. So you group these two, and then you group these two, pull out their GCFs. So for the first two, we pull out a 2 and an x. Then instead, I'm going to be left with just x plus 1 because I can redistribute and I get 2x squared plus 2. From the last two, I can pull out a negative 7. Then inside, I'm going to be left with x plus 1. Now here again, we're happy because these guys match. Once they match, you can pull that out. So you'll have x plus 1, and we're left with 2x minus 7. So these are the factors. So you see how you have to use two methods for this one because it's a trinomial, and also you can break it into 4 terms, then you can use grouping. If you ever want to check your answer, just distribute and you should give you the initial terms. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope this helps.